Welcome to Toffee TV, joined by Andy. But before we start, this video is brought to you in association with The Athletic. You can get a 7-day free trial at the moment with The Athletic and then 50% off your yearly subscription. Some great writers on there, Everton only content as well at times from Paddy Boyland and Greg O'Keefe. Click the link in the description to sign up and experience your first trial with The Athletic. Andy, Everton linked very heavily.
You could say very heavily.
Very heavily.
On a daily basis, yeah.
Exactly. With Lille centre-back Gabriel dos Santos Magalhães.
We'll call him Gabriel.
We're going to call him Gabriel for ease.
Yes.
I think, and quicker, really. So we thought we'd have a chat about him because this is something that's built, hasn't it? It was first mooted in January, and then it seems like each week the story gets a bit more meat on it. And over the weekend, everybody had run the story that Everton are very close to agreeing a deal with him. We had a quote from Nicolas Scherer who said, Everton are in talks to sign Lille defender Gabriel Magalhães. The Toffees have reportedly offered the Brazilian player a contract until 2025. So, Gabriel, what are your thoughts on him? What do you know about him to start?
So, he didn't really play much last year because they had obviously Samara who's gone to Italy now, and Jose Fonts, obviously the captain. So they've had them two, the main centre-half partnership last year. He obviously he's only young, so this is his first big season, but he's now probably the best defender by some ways. Really helps Fonte out because Fonte's not as quick as he used to be, so he does a lot of the work in the defence, and he's really stood out. Really, you watched him play defence. He's the best defender. He's good on the ball, strong, quick. He can do everything really you want as a defender, as a modern defender, in terms of he can, as well as obviously being a good defender and winning the ball back. He also can obviously carry the ball into midfield, but also pass through the lines to break down those banks of four. So yeah, he's a really good player, to be fair.
The lad who come out of Brazil and went off he played for Dynamo Zagreb as well, didn't he? And got some experience of European football there, and then obviously gone over to France with Lille. He's only 22. Everton have wanted, I think Carlo Ancelotti highlighted it when he came in, that they wanted a left-footed centre-back. I'm not sure whether Marco Silva had the plan for that because he wanted Kurt Zuma, who is a right-footed centre-back, but I know that when Ancelotti come in, that was one of the things him and Marcel Brands spoke about.
Yeah, it's key for balance.
Having a left-footed centre-back. Particularly if you're going to try to play the ball out from the back rather than giving it to a right footer who's either got to shift it inside or just help it on.
Which is more dangerous when you're obviously getting pressed nowadays.
Of course, it gives you that balance. So he's someone certainly who fits that kind of bill. He's 6'3", quite quick. So he's got like you said, he's a modern day centre back. He's got everything that you would want. Great age as well. And I think the other thing, obviously Marcel Brands is well aware of him, with him being a South American player anyway, knows that market really well. But I think the other thing as well is people like Bernard at Everton and Richarlison, and you've got Yerry Mina, who's someone who we will actually look at, next to Gabriel in a bit. So with that Portuguese, Andre Gomes as well, isn't it? It's easy to...
It's easy for him to come into the club and fit into the culture, and obviously there's already Portuguese-speaking players there. He's not quite to the national team level yet, but he will be eventually. I think he's that good. So it helps him obviously attract him to go. Carlo Ancelotti, of course, will attract him to the club as well. And what we've talked about before as well as buying from clubs like Lille, who are really good developer of talent, and that's the type of club where they're playing regular European football now. They're playing the Champions League this year. Buying players from them clubs are a higher calibre of talent, really. So it'd be a good move. We can pull it off, really.
Played against Chelsea, didn't he? I think.
He did, yeah. The Ajax as well in the group stage.
So he's had some good experience already as a young defender. So coming into our club, I think, will make a big difference. And French League, I know me and you've had this conversation quite regularly, is that it's quite close to the Premier League now in terms of the physicality side of it.
It's the easiest one to translate from, yeah. Don't be wrong, it's not a great, the best league of all the top 5 leagues. Obviously, there's more talent in, I'd say, Spain, but it's called the League of Talents for a reason. A lot of the talented young players go to play in France. It's a great entry league to come into Europe if you're a South American or obviously Asian or African players. Come into France, play in those leagues, and they really develop because they play from such young ages. Where in the Premier League, it's much harder to break into your first team young. So in Gabriel's case, he's come over to France. He started playing well as well in this season. So yeah, it'd be a good move for us. So yeah, I think in terms of him, I think we needed a left-footed centre-back. He fits that bill. We need someone who can play out from the back. He fits that bill as well. And I think that, Carlos, obviously, I'm going to guess Carlos had a look at him as well. I think we've been scouting him since about September, October at times. So, yeah, be a really good signing.
Yeah, I think, again, it's the physicality of him, I think, is an important thing, because obviously we've got Yerry Mina, who's a big lad, stopper. Yeah. Really isn't. He's a big stopper. And they've got Mason Holgate, who is a little bit more like Gabriel in that he's a bit slighter, but he's bigger anyway.
That's what I say to describe him as. He's that in between Mina and Holgate. So if you wanted to go bigger, you could play Mina and Gabriel. If you wanted to go a bit quicker, if you're playing against Vardy, for example, you'd have Gabriel and Holgate. So for Lille, he plays as the cover defender, because obviously Jose Font's much slower, and he sometimes does the work of two men, to be fair. But I watched the Nantes game for Lille this morning, and the Olympic Lyon game. It was excellent. Just really good on the ball, stopping everything. He really tracks run as well. Good senses danger early, gets himself, positions himself well, and he's got great recovery pace as well, which is key because no defender's perfect, but just making those right decisions and where to put, to get back into position, get back that structure back. So he is really good at that as well.
It is that recovery thing. It's something that Everton probably have missed this season. Yeah. Certainly had missed it until Mason Holgate got in. Yeah. Holgate obviously is a bit quicker than Mina, much quicker than Michael Keane. Yeah. And I think if Everton do sign Gabriel, I think personally that probably spells the end of Michael Keane. Based on his contract situation, because 2 years left,
we spoke about it before. It's at the stage where you sell or renew, because if you leave it to the last year, you're losing a lot of value out of the deal. So, Burnley, Newcastle, Crystal Palace, them type of teams, he fits in great there because they sit deep.
We're looking at him as well.
I think that's a bit much, but I'd say them three teams where they are playing a bit deeper would suit Michael Keane. He isn't a bad centre back. He's just a bit flawed. If you put him in the right system, he can be good for teams. It's just that Everton are not that team, really.
And at 27 with 2 years left.
Yeah, I think you look to cash out now, and it wouldn't, if you got round what we paid for him, it'd be a good deal for Everton all round, and you replaced him with that man there. It'd be great. Yeah,
that's again, it's the pace of this fella which makes him all the more an attractive prospect. And like you said, a player who can play in the three as well at the back, or he's even played left back as well.
He can do. He's really good at comfortable on the ball.
Julian Lescotty and play both.
That's awkward, but yeah.
Not as he's
I always found out Julian, he was a bit like robotic in his movements, and sometimes in terms of athleticism he struggled with. This lad, very fluid movement, turns well to both sides, can pass with his right foot. He's not all left-footed, which obviously makes him harder to sort of close down and press. So that's key as well in terms of you're not buying someone who uses his right foot for balance. He can't actually use it as well.
Yeah. Let's have a look at a couple of his things.
So this is sorry, it's more for laptops, but this is for, as Ped will tell you. But this is what we use for the company I work for, Market Insights. This is a data profile. We'll break it down into 3 parts to make it easier to fit on the screen. But this is his creative attack and play. So the gauge is based on the percentile in the said league in his position. So for centre backs in the League One, this is where he ranks. So I wouldn't say too much. This is more of a creative attack and play. The one 3 passes, he tries a lot of 3 passes, which is key now, because as Everton get better, you're going to see a lot more banks of 4 and more low block against them. And we've struggled when teams have done that against us. Having a defender who can step into midfield, cause teams to try and press him and break the structure is key, and he will help that massively, like Mason Holgate does now.
I was going to say, we've seen the evidence of that with Mason. When he gets it right, he can take 4 players out of the game.
Exactly.
Obviously, there's risk and reward, but sometimes it'll be cut out, and then you've got to go the other way. Again, his pace will help with that, because if it's him giving the ball
that's what they want from modern players. If you look at Liverpool, Van Dijk plays those lovely diagonal balls, out to the full backs, and I watched Gabriel do that this morning as well. You need them type of players, because it can help. Instead of people don't like playing out the back sometimes, just get rid of it and all that, but it sort of draws the people out, creates space for your attackers. So it's key to have people who can play football at the back.
It's comfortable on the ball as well, isn't it? So there's numbers there, and then into this bit, the passing.
So this is very important. So progressive passes are passes that sort of get teams up the pitch. They can be 10 metres, 15 metres, 20 metres, depending on where you're actually playing the pass. So they're very important now at centre-backs. If you look at a lot of the signings that teams like Atalanta are really smart make, or other top teams, they look at defenders who can break the lines, who can get teams up the pitch, start transitions quickly and early, and this is what he can do really well. And the progressive runs means he carries the ball good distances. So that's another thing. When you're carrying the ball into midfield, you're causing obviously people to come out and try and press you. As I say, it opens gaps between the lines for people like Bernard, Iwobi, whoever plays right wing next season to exploit.
Yeah, I mean, he's got some great numbers here.
Yeah, so long passing, okay, not the best, but he makes a lot of passes, so he's very comfortable on the ball. He passes it forward well. The percentages it depends on risk and reward. As you can see, he's making a lot, as the previous screen as well, he makes a lot of forward passes, so obviously your percentage is going to suffer the more risk you take. I watched him this morning, he's a very good passer. In terms of pass length, that's fine, not too long, he's not playing long balls consistently, so these are all good numbers for someone his age, 22, in a good league as well.
His average long pass just 43 metres, which is again those raking passes which we see obviously the likes of Van Dijk playing.
If you're playing two up front, you basically have Dominic Calvert-Lewin sort of taking two defenders, and you have Charlson, who's a bigger sort of winger or centre forward on a smaller full-back. Then you can have those man advantages, which is key.
Very good passing accuracy as well, up there around 86, just under 87%. Average passes per game, just under 58 passes per game.
So he's always on the ball. If you watch Lille, he built from the back. He's the focal point, really. A lot of the balls go into him, start the moves, which is key.
12, just under 12 progressive passes as well.
Yeah, it's a good number.
So that's good. And
so this is defensive numbers. So aerial duels, he's one of the most in the league contested. He wins 63%. Now this, people go, he only just wins over half. The problem with certain data companies is they include attack and headers, and so it affects the percentage.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
So that's actually really high, because a lot of people, if you include attack and headers, not many connect off corners. He's actually doing really well there. In terms of defensive duels, 69%. That's where you want to be, around 70%. That's really good for a defender. Your top defenders who are a couple of years older than more in the peak are averaging about 74, 75. Okay. So he's right in that good zone. This is important here, peer-adjusted interceptions. So what data companies do now is, instead of just going, for example, Norwich are bottom of the league and obviously have the least possession, or we won't use Norwich, we'll say Crystal Palace, for example, who are a low block team, they don't have a lot of possession, so teams are obviously attacking more against them, which means their players, like last season with Wan-Bissaka, will have more tackles, more interceptions. So what they do to balance that out is the possession adjuster to make it all even. So so once they adjust it out, even though Lille have a lot of the ball, compared to everyone around the league, he makes a lot of interceptions. Got really good,
over 6 interceptions.
Yeah, really good anticipation. He cuts off passing lanes really well.
Well,
so
we used to love Guy, and he used to average about 7 or 8 a game, so obviously he's averaging over 6 a game. That's good reading of the game, isn't it?
Exactly. So, and possessions, I wouldn't look at the tackle numbers here, because they don't really register normal tackles. On Y-Scout, it's only sliding tackles, but as I say, he still completes over half of sliding tackles. Shots blocked, again, one every 2 games. Lille different type of league. Lille don't really have many teams who attack them, maybe bar PSG, so that's why that number's reasonably low. But overall, in terms of defensive numbers, they're really good. Doesn't give away a lot of fouls, which is key as well. He's quite a disciplined defender. As I watched him this morning, he's not fouling in poor
He tries to nick a lot. I've had the look.
He can do both. So he can do the finesse type of defender where he's trying to nick the ball off a toe, or he can use his strength and power to move them off the ball. So he's a clever player. He's a clever player.
Fairly. I failed challenges, but shoulder. He's strong.
He's a clever player,
quick. So, I mean, he's sounding really good. This is him compared with Yerry Mina. We've used Yerry Mina on this because Yerry Mina's been our best defender this season. Making Holgate, don't get me wrong, has improved massively and is great. But overall, Yerry has played the majority of the season and has been quite consistent. So that, we could have put Michael Keane in and waited it, but we haven't. We've gone with Yerry Mina because he's our best. So how does this compare?
So this is the creative attack and play, which for centre back's not really a big issue. But if you look at it here, Gabriel's getting more involved in the final third in terms of making deep completions of passes made to positions within 20 yards of the goal. He needs more successful passes to the penalty area. Again, Lille are a much better side in their league, so obviously that sort of adjusts to that. Obviously, in terms of key passes, Yerry Mina obviously is good from corners, so he obviously get a lot of knockdowns. The dribbles, in terms of Yerry Mina doesn't dribble the ball a lot, whereas Gabriel does like to carry the ball into midfield, so there is a difference between
this. Is interesting though, the smart passes.
So that's passes into space,
from Yerry Mina,
really well,
and smart passing accuracy as well. So that, I mean, that's good for people who look at Yerry Mina and go, well, he can't play. He's
not bad on the ball.
He's not bad, is he?
He's not a bad player.
And I suppose the longer he's playing under Carlo Ancelotti, the more he'll develop that. And if he's playing with someone as comfortable, and I'm not advocating that Mason Holgate goes off the team,
whoever's best plays,
whoever forces their way in. It's all about creating a squad at Everton that players have to work to be in the team, and no one's
and also you can play different ways tactically. As I say, if you play a Vardy, you might think, Yerry Mina's not really suited to this game, I'll play Gabriel and Holgate. We've seen it when he's played Michael Keane for the physicality. You need to have those options in a squad. Liverpool, Gomez has been very good for 18 months, Joel Matip plays over him a lot of the time, so it depends on who you play.
Or they might bring Lovren in sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
So you've got to use your players, and you need that different type, and that's why we want a left footer for that balance. I
mean, that theoretically, just looking at that would mean that they would be a good partnership in the attacking creative side, because they can both do things that the other one can't. So that was quite interesting. Defensive performance is the next one.
So Gabriel is basically trumps Mina in a lot of this. Aerial duels is the number of aerial duels you can test. So the Premier League, I'd say, is a bit more, a lot more vertical passes, so a lot more heading. So Gabriel doesn't face as many as Mina. Gabriel wins more of his duels, so he wins much more, the higher percent of his duels. He's more active defender.
That surprised me, that, because I would say the one thing, because Yerry doesn't get beaten very often. I would say
he was doing 9 and won 4. And Gabriel did 7 and 1 4. It did have a percentage, so it can work out that way. It's how you interpret it, of course. Gabriel blocks. This is one I'm surprised that Gabriel blocks more shots than Yerry Mina. Now Yerry Mina is quite a physical defender who gets in front of the ball. So is that something to consider? Gabriel's a much more busy defender. It takes a lot more defense. Wins more defensive duels. As I say, look at the difference in intercepting. That's reading the games. I think Yerry Mina is. I think this is quite harsh, because the Premier League is a slightly better standard. So it can be. It's hard to mirror stats over and data over from one league to the other, but what you can see with Gabriel is he anticipates really well. He cuts those passes, he cuts the angles off of passes as well really well.
But all we're doing is we're just trying to build a profile, and we're just saying, look, this is the data that's available.
Exactly. And again,
there's fouls again though. Look at his fouls. Hardly any fouls. So not only is he having a lot more interceptions, hardly committing any fouls.
The key with Gabriel as well is what this is where Michael Keane struggled in the past, because we'll use Keane as an example, as defending in space, which is why he struggled to play a high line with Keane. And we've want to play a high line, having Holgate, Gabriel. Mina's not too bad in high line either. It enables you then
to play
higher up the pitch, because then you don't mind them being one-on-one with a quick player in space, because he's got no problem in defending those quick players in space. So that's key. With Mina as well, if you played him with the Gabriel and with Holgate, as you see it allows him to be the stopper. When Michael Keane and Mina played together, they couldn't really work out the roles well. And I think that's what you want, that balance is. Gabriel is big enough and strong enough to do both roles, and is quick enough so you can have him with Holgate or with Mina. So the nice balance for the squad there.
And then this final one.
So you're passing, So Mina makes more passes, and he's more passing accuracy, which is not. It's quite negligible, because obviously just seeing Gabriel is averaging 86% of his passes. Mina's obviously averaged a bit more in their terms of 90%. But as you can see here, Mina's making a lot less riskier passes than Gabriel. He makes quite a high number of risky forward passes. So the difference is that's why it affects his accuracy on forward passes, because he makes a lot more. So it's just how you interpret it. What we're seeing here is Yerry Mina is carrying the ball much more into midfield. There's a lot more space open for Mina. I think with Gabriel, he could exploit that space as well. So again, you've got to. The data shows
style of the teams is different
exactly.
as well,
so it's how you interpret it. I think when I looked at Gabriel's data, if I had to make a short list for Everton before I knew he was interested, he would have been on the list. Because he's that type of player that fits what Everton want and the profile of Carlo Ancelotti wants. So it shows him in a good light that he would be a really good addition for the side.
I mean, saying there, Everton are after him. We're just reacting to. What is...
It's very heavily...
normally, when the links are so strong, obviously things are kicking on, because nobody's come out and gone, actually, no, that isn't the case. Everyone's running with it. Normally, when
Leo would have stamped it out.
Leo would have stamped it out when European journalists are getting involved, and Nicole O'Shea there, as we've seen, does a lot of transfer stuff. Okay, sometimes he has misses, but he does get a lot of hits as well. And just seeing journalists in this country saying Everton are leading the chase, Everton are this, Everton are that. So there is quite clearly stuff going on. And he, like you just said there, the key thing with this is sometimes you see links and you go,
this makes sense.
Doesn't make any sense at all. And it's just, like a Napoli player every single day. And
every Italian
Everton
player.
Are paying 60 million for Alan, who's 29 or 30, and you're like, I don't think we are.
No.
But this one does make sense.
It does, and he's the right age. And I know, and what I would say to people is he's very good now, but he could be even better, which is the key. Is why I've probably signed him, because we need players who can come in now and add to the quality of the squad, but also in a couple of years' time, he could be a really top defender. And that's key, I think, rather than signing Koulibaly, who, don't be wrong, is a fantastic defender, but he's 29, will cost a lot of money. Everton, I think,
massive wages.
Why don't we bring in Gabriel? You know, for the long term, and for Everton as a club, it's a better investment. And I think if we sign them, I think that, you know, I think that's the right intent that we're signing. If we got to sign them done early, we can announce it, say, in the next month or two, if that was going to happen, that'd be fantastic. I think because the fans have often worried that we're signing players too late in the window. Yeah. This is obviously a nice marker under the new regime under Carlo. We're signing a centre-back. This is our centre-back we're signing, it's getting done early.
I think, like you say, the fact that Marcel Brands is getting more entrenched in the club, with these are the younger players who he wants to bring.
This is what we need to
sell
do,
on value and everything else. That's why
I know people don't like to hear sell on value, but it doesn't. I think every club, even Liverpool, considers sell on value, because if they sign a player and he doesn't work, he's not really right for their team, but he retains a lot of his value rather than being a 29-year-old who doesn't. It benefits them as a club, because they can then sell them on. And obviously we know Liverpool always get more money, but whatever. But even Manchester City, Manchester City never sell players, but normal clubs anyway, it's better to think that long-term strategy rather than just let's fill a team with 30-year-olds and go for a one-season hit. You need to think a bit longer term now. And I think with the age of the squad, and as you say about the Portuguese culture, he fits in in perfectly with that. And I think Carlo will improve him as well, so that's the key.
There you go. Big thanks to Andy there for the interpretation of the data. Let us know what you think in the comment section below. Will Gabriel be a good signing for Everton? Obviously heavily linked, certainly for the last 6 weeks with them, but those links are getting stronger and seem to have a bit more meat on the bones now, in terms of what's happening between Everton and Lille. So we could have a very good defender on our hands if Everton can pull the deal off. Let us know if you think it will be a good deal. Make sure you check out that offer from The Athletic. Remember, it's a 7-day free trial. You get 50% off your yearly subscription. Check the link below. Go and have a look at it. There's lots of excellent articles on. Make sure you try it out. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't. Give the video a thumbs up. And if you want more videos, join us over on Patreon. See you later.